Have you ever paused in the quiet of the evening, looked back on your day, and wonder where all the hours went? It's a feeling many of us know all too well, especially as we enter our 50s and beyond. Time, that silent river flowing endlessly forward, is our most precious resource. Yet it's the one we often squander without a second thought. Today, I want to gently guide you through 5 transformative strategies to stop wasting time and start cherishing every moment. These aren't quick fixes. They're thoughtful approaches drawn from years of wisdom and real-life experiences, expanded with deeper insights into journeys of those who've walked this path. By the end, you'll feel empowered to make changes that resonate deeply with your life. Let's embark on this journey together, one step at a time. First, prioritize what truly matters in your life. In our busy world, it's all too easy to fill our days with activities that seem urgent but aren't truly important. Emails pile up, household chores demand attention, and social obligations pull us in every direction. But here's the key. Prioritizing means discerning between what's essential to your happiness and what's merely noise. It involves aligning your daily actions with your core values: family, health, personal growth, or perhaps pursuing long-forgotten passions. This process requires honest self-reflection, considering not just immediate needs, but long-term fulfillment. Let me share the expanded story of Susan, a 58-year-old librarian from Chicago who spent her days buried in administrative tasks and volunteer work that left her exhausted and unfulfilled. Susan had always been the go-to person for everyone, organizing book clubs, helping with community fundraisers, and even assisting colleagues with their workloads. But deep down, she felt a growing emptiness. Her own dreams were sidelined. She loved reading classic literature and had harbored a secret ambition to write her own stories, inspired by authors like Jane Austen. However, time always seemed to evaporate amid the chaos. One crisp autumn afternoon, after a mild health scare, a persistent fatigue that her doctor attributed to stress, Susan decided enough was enough. She retreated to her cozy home library, surrounded by shelves of beloved books, and took out a fresh notebook. With a warm cup of tea in hand, she listed her top priorities. First, nurturing her relationships with her 2 adult children, who lived across the country and whom she saw infrequently. Second, maintaining her physical well-being through gentle daily walks in the nearby park, where she could enjoy the changing seasons. And third, dedicating time to her creative writing, starting with short journal entries that evolved into full narratives. She began auditing her weekly schedule meticulously, politely declining invitations to committees that drained her energy without adding joy, and instead blocking out sacred time slots, mornings for writing when her mind was fresh, evenings for video calls with her kids, sharing laughs and updates. Over the next year, Susan not only self-published a collection of short stories that drew from her life's experiences, but also strengthened her family bonds through regular, heartfelt conversations and planned visits. She even lost a few pounds from her consistent walks, feeling more vibrant than she had in years. Her example shows that prioritization isn't about doing more. It's about doing what counts, creating space for what brings true joy and legacy. To apply this, start small. This evening, jot down your 3 non-negotiable priorities. Review your calendar and ask, does this activity serve them? If not, consider letting it go. You'll find profound sense of freedom in this clarity, just as Susan did. Second, eliminate distractions that stealthily erode your time. Distractions are like invisible thieves, sneaking into our devices, habits, and even our environments, stealing precious minutes that add up to hours. In a digital age, notifications from phones, endless scrolling on social media, or even the lure of daytime television can derail our best intentions. But recognizing and addressing these culprits can reclaim vast swaths of your day, allowing focus to flourish. This requires vigilance and simple tools to create boundaries. Take the detailed tale of John, a 62-year-old engineer from Sydney who, after retiring from a demanding career in civil engineering, aimed to learn guitar, a lifelong dream sparked by memories of listening to folk music with his late father. However, his mornings, which he envisioned filled with strumming melodies, vanished into a vortex of distractions. Checking emails that led to replying to old colleagues, browsing news sites that spiraled into heated opinion pieces, and getting lost in YouTube videos about unrelated topics like historical documentaries. By lunchtime, he'd be frustrated, the guitar untouched in its case, gathering dust. John realized this pattern was robbing him of his retirement joy when he confided in a friend during a casual coffee meetup who suggested a distraction audit. Motivated, John tracked his time for a full week using a simple app on his phone and was shocked to discover that over 3 hours a day were lost to aimless online wandering. Time that could have been invested in his passion. Determined to change, he implemented thoughtful boundaries, designating his sunlit study as a tech-free zone in the mornings, complete with comfortable chair and his guitar stand, using a website blocker app to limit social media to just 20 minutes in the evening, and replacing idle browsing with structured guitar practice sessions, starting with beginner tutorials from a book he'd bought years ago. He even placed a small sign on his desk, "Focus on the music." Within months, John not only mastered basic chords and simple songs like House of the Rising Sun, but also performed at a local community event, where the applause of the audience brought tears to his eyes, evoking memories of his father. This newfound skill rekindled his sense of accomplishment and even led to joining a senior music group, forming new friendships. John's story illustrates how distractions fragment our focus, but intentional barriers restore it, leading to personal growth and unexpected delights. Begin by identifying your top 3 distractions, perhaps multitasking during meals or constant phone checks during family time. Replace them with positive alternatives. Read a physical book instead of scrolling, or enjoy a quiet cup of tea without screens, savoring the warmth and aroma. Over time, these small shifts will compound, giving you back control over your day, much like they did for John. Third, treat time as a deliberate daily investment. Think of time not as something to spend frivolously, but as an investment in your future self, like depositing into a savings account that grows with compound interest. Each day offers opportunities to build skills, foster relationships, or nurture your well-being, yielding returns that enrich your later years. Without this mindset, time dissipates on autopilot routines that yield little fruit, leaving us with regrets. Consider the in-depth narrative of Margaret, a 55-year-old accountant from London who felt her life was stuck in a monotonous loop of spreadsheets, client meetings, and household chores that left her feeling stagnant and uninspired. She yearned to travel more, drawn to the vibrant cultures of Europe she'd read about in magazines, but always postponed planning, convincing herself she lacked the time amid her busy schedule. This changed when she attended a retirement seminar where a speaker shared stories of adventurous seniors, inspiring Margaret to shift her perspective. She began viewing time as a daily investment, starting modestly by carving out 30 minutes each evening after dinner. Her quiet time when the house was calm, to research travel destinations. She'd sit at her kitchen table and notebook, browsing affordable flight options to places like Rome or Paris, learning basic Italian phrases through free apps, and even joining an online forum for mature travelers where she connected with like-minded individuals sharing tips on budget-friendly itineraries and hidden gems. This routine not only built her knowledge, but also ignited excitement. She saved a small amount weekly into a travel fund jar, watching it grow. A year later, Margaret embarked on her first solo trip to Italy, wandering the ancient streets of Rome, savoring gelato under the sun, and visiting the Colosseum, experiences that filled her with a sense of wonder and rejuvenation she hadn't felt since her youth. Upon returning, she felt more alive at work and home, even incorporating travel-inspired recipes into family meals. Margaret's experience teaches us that consistent, small investments in what excites us lead to exponential growth, turning dreams into reality. To adopt this, reflect on one area you'd like to invest in, be it health, hobbies, or connections. Commit to a daily 15-minute slot. Walk briskly for fitness, feeling the fresh air on your skin. Sketch for creativity, letting your imagination flow, or call a loved one, sharing stories that deepen bonds. Track your progress and journal, noting how these investments enhance your life over months, just as they transformed Margaret's. Fourth, build sustainable routines that safeguard your time. Routines are the scaffolding of a well-lived life, providing structure without rigidity, ensuring that your time is protected from chaos. Yet, many of us resist them, viewing them as boring or restrictive, only to find our days fragmented and unproductive. A sustainable routine incorporates flexibility, balancing obligations with rest and joy, adapting to life's ebbs and flows. Let's delve deeper into Robert's story, a 65-year-old farmer from rural Texas who, after retiring from decades of tending crops under the vast blue skies, struggled with a sudden lack of structure that led to procrastination, endless TV watching, and a nagging sense of regret over unfulfilled interests. He missed the rhythmic predictability of farm life, rising with the sun, working the land, but now felt adrift in his spacious ranch house, days blending into one another. A turning point came during a family gathering, when his grandchildren asked about his old war stories from his military days, sparking his interest in history. Drawing from his disciplined farming background, Robert crafted a gentle, sustainable routine to anchor his days. Mornings began with light exercise, like a brisk walk around his property, breathing in the earthy scents, and watching the sunrise paint the fields gold. Afternoons were dedicated to reading history books from the local library, curled up in his favorite armchair with notes on fascinating facts, and evenings centered on family dinners, where he'd prepare simple meals using fresh produce from his garden, sharing conversations that strengthened ties. He wisely included buffer time for unexpected joys, such as impromptu visits from grandchildren for storytelling sessions or helping neighbors with small tasks. This framework not only prevented time from leaking away into aimlessness, but infused his days with purpose and vitality. Robert even initiated a small community garden project, teaching younger folks about sustainable farming while fostering new friendships that combated loneliness. His journey highlights how routines act as guardians of time, preventing it from evaporating while allowing room for spontaneity and growth. Craft yours by starting with anchors. A consistent wake-up time that aligns with your natural rhythm, meal schedules that nourish body and soul, and wind-down rituals like a warm bath or light reading. Experiment for a week, adjusting as needed. Perhaps adding a midday break for reflection or a short nap if energy dips. Remember, the goal is sustainability, not perfection. A routine that feels nurturing and adaptable will endure, much like Robert's did. Fifth, embrace mindfulness to fully inhabit your time. In our fast-paced world, we often race through moments without truly experiencing them, wasting time by being mentally elsewhere, dwelling on past regrets or future worries. Mindfulness invites us to be present, savoring each second and making conscious choices about how we spend it. This practice deepens appreciation, reduces regret over lost time, and enhances overall well-being through simple, accessible techniques. Meet Elena in greater detail, a 59-year-old teacher from Melbourne who constantly worried about the future, retirement finances, her children's careers, even global news, letting present joys slip by unnoticed. Her days blurred into an anxiety-fueled busyness, grading papers while half listening to her husband, eating meals distractedly in front of the TV, and rushing through lessons without connecting deeply with her students. This mental absence left her exhausted and disconnected, until a colleague recommended a local mindfulness workshop held in a serene community center overlooking the bay. Intrigued, Elena attended, learning foundational practices like mindful breathing and body scans. She began integrating them subtly. During her daily commute on the tram, she'd focus on her breath, noticing the rhythm and the city sound around her. At meals, she'd eat slowly, savoring each flavor and texture, turning routine dinners into mindful rituals shared with her family. And nightly, she'd journal 3 things she was grateful for, reflecting on small beauties like a student's smile or a sunset's glow. Over time, Elena noticed profound shifts. She wasted less time on unproductive worry, instead cherishing walks in the park where she'd feel the grass underfoot and listen to birdsong, fully engaging in conversations that rebuilt intimacy with loved ones. This presence led to a richer life. She took up yoga classes twice a week, improving her flexibility and calm, and her teaching became more impactful, with students responding to her genuine attention. Elena's transformation shows that mindfulness turns time from a fleeting commodity into a profound gift, anchoring us in the richness of now. Integrate it by starting with 5 minutes of focused breathing daily, perhaps in a quiet corner of your home, inhaling deeply and exhaling worries. Practice single tasking during activities. When walking, notice your steps. When talking, listen fully. Notice your thoughts without judgment, gently redirecting to the present. With patience and consistency, mindfulness will anchor you, ensuring no moment is wasted, echoing the peace Elena found. As we come to the end of this exploration, I invite you to sit quietly for a moment and reflect on the insights we've shared. How has time slipped away in your life? And which of these strategies speaks most to your heart? Perhaps it's Susan's prioritization that frees your schedule, John's boundaries that reclaim your focus, Margaret's investments that spark adventure, Robert's routines that provide stability, or Elena's mindfulness that brings presence. Whatever it is, know that change begins with awareness and small steps. Time is your most precious resource, but with intention, it becomes a canvas for a masterpiece of a life. I'd be honored to hear your thoughts in the comments. What resonated with you, or what's one change you'll make today? If this video has touched you, please like it to show your support, subscribe for more gentle guidance on living well, and share it with a friend who might need this reminder. Together, we can inspire a community to value and protect their time. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, live each moment fully.